Hey guys, welcome to another class. The title of this class is How to Relish Your Moments. Yum, yum. How to relish your moments. In this class, we will be talking about the 10 perfections. Yeah. The first perfection being generosity. So this class is on generosity. Brother John lives just an hour away from where I stay, here in Bengaluru. Lovely fellow. When he was young, he felt this deep calling, this deep urge to serve the community he lived in as a priest. And so he applied for the training and became a priest. Because of his amazing love and dedication to what he was doing, people warmed to him. He had a great following. Then, after a few years, he changed his location, residence, and moved into an apartment that was being rented by a lady, yummy lady, whose husband had just died recently. He moved into this apartment, and after a couple of months, he realized he was falling in love with this babe, his landlady. She had two young daughters. Anyway, he disrobed and married her and adopted her two lovely little kids. Now, he was no longer a priest. He had to pay the bills. So he started a car rental company with the help of those people he had served as a priest. They supported him financially and in whichever ways. He started this amazing car rental company, which even today, 30 years from the time it started, is still receiving exceptional reviews because of the integrity and the quality that John brought into the company. Now, this wasn't enough. Good Lord was still whispering to him that he had many things to accomplish. So he saw the orphans in his area and the terrible conditions they were living in. And therefore, he started an orphanage from the profits that he acquired from the car rental company. He started an orphanage for these little kids. Now, when these little kids grew up a little bit and wanted to join the public schools, doors were closed to them. They were shunned. Yeah, it happens. It happens. So Brother John started a school, especially for these not very privileged beings. Brilliant stuff. He educated the two girls that he had adopted. One is now in New Zealand, settled there with her family. The other one is in the US, settled there with her family. His wife popped off a few years ago. I met Brother John last year in 2023. And at that time, he was 96 years old, rather old. And he was ready for takeoff to heaven, Hawaii. He had a multiple entry visa there. Hot stuff. All because of his deep generosity, his deep sense of responsibility towards the community to which he belonged. Brilliant stuff. Yeah, excellent person. Okay, let's start. There are many in this world, many in this world who have lots to celebrate. Yeah, light those candles. Yeah, there are many in this world who have lots to celebrate when things are going well for them. Who doesn't celebrate when things are going well for them? Yeah, they're young, intelligent, many of them good looking. They have great jobs. They're healthy. Some of them even work in exotic locations. And others are married to some sizzling spouses. Real sizzle. Yeah, lots to celebrate. And for them, everybody believes, wow, these guys have an excellent destiny ahead of them. And they also believe that their destiny is assured happily ever after. But my dear friends, what happens to most people when they turn 40 and above, middle age? What happens to people when they experience middle age? Yes, middle of before they pop. What happens to the majority? Sadly, first of all, they're not as young. Wrinkles coming. Yeah. Hair going. They're no longer young. And the majority of them no longer healthy. Too much stress at home and in the workplace. And they had no time, no inclination to discover their strengths to handle the stress. Plus, they're no longer enamored with the work that they're doing. They're bored, they're restless, dissatisfied, and even those sizzling spouses have lost their sizzle. No longer sizzling. Yeah, they're dissatisfied in their workplace. They're dissatisfied in their home life with their partners. They're dissatisfied with themselves. All those accomplishments, all that money, all those branded clothes, and the shopping sprees, nothing satisfies. Why? Why does this tragic scenario take place lifetime after lifetime? For everyone, pretty much. Lifetime after lifetime. Initially, everything's honky-dory. Yeah, young, healthy, intelligent, great job, big bank account, sizzling partners, and it all fizzles out by middle age. Jaded. Their eyes are like glazed. Yeah? That vitality is gone. The enthusiasm is gone. Fear grips them. Sadness grips them. Why? Why? If you want a celestial chocolate, answer the question correctly. and I'll send it across. You see, we have been brought up, conditioned to measure ourselves by our accomplishments. A grades in school, top class student, hot stuff job, supersonic partner. Yeah. We have been conditioned to measure ourselves on the basis of our accomplishments. And that's how other people also measure us. And in the beginning, we think it's all great stuff. But after a certain period, all that matters nothing to us. It doesn't matter at all. It's lost its value. Why? Why have we just... Why has the wind been taken out of our sails? Even though we've accomplished some pretty great things, we're still not satisfied, unhappy, dissatisfied. Why? It is because what we become from all our doing and all our having, that's what matters. What we become. Are we becoming a happier, kinder, more compassionate, wiser person from the work that we're doing? From the person we've chosen to marry? Do they bring out our best, or do they bring out our worst? Yeah, the kind of person we become is what really matters. To relish our moments, that's what matters. Not the accomplishments, but what we become in the process of accomplishing whatever we accomplish. That's so very important. And yet, people choose to neglect what's most important. Secondly, the number of people we have enriched along the way to our success is also what matters. How many people have we inspired? How many people have we helped? How many lives have we uplifted in the process of our living, in the process of our being on the planet? That's what matters. But it's all about me. I, me, and mine. Wrong formula for happiness. Many years ago, I was invited to give a talk to a billion-dollar organization. Yes, how I got there, who knows? Yeah, a free talk. Whoever wanted to come during their lunch break. Okay, this was Sydney, Australia. About 100 people were present. The hall was big enough for about 500. But just 100 people turned up for the talk during their lunch break. After the talk, I said to them, look, you guys, I'm offering another talk, paid talk in this venue. Then there's a workshop, and then there's a retreat. It might be to your advantage to join. Guess how many people signed up? Yes, 0. Priorities are great place. 0. Anyway, after the talk, I was told that one of the hotshots in the building, in the corporation, wanted to have a private word with me. So I said, okay, let's do it. And I was beamed up in the elevator. to one of the top floors. Lovely view. There in the meeting room, nice fancy meeting room, I spoke to this fellow. He must have been in his 40s. Young guy, tall. Well, everyone is tall compared to me. Good looking. Everyone is good looking compared to me. Okay, right. Intelligent, beautiful fellow, really lovely person. But here's the tragic story that he narrated to me and asked for advice. He was divorced. He had one daughter from his marriage that he absolutely adored. And he basically lived just for this little girl. His wife, his ex, had custody of the child, and he was allowed to see her or to spend time with her only on alternate weekends. And he lived for those weekends when he would be with his little precious princess. So I asked him, so what do you do on the weekends when you're not seeing her? I keep myself busy. With what? Reading books on awareness? Do you do classes? Retreats? No, with work. But why do you need to work so much? Why, especially on weekends when you're supposed to be free? Guess what he told me? Behram, I wouldn't know what to do with myself if I had free time. I wouldn't know what to do with myself. That's why I keep myself busy. Whoa, what a sad reality. What a sad way of living. Here he is, intelligent, making big bucks. He could do so much with that money to help other people, but it's all about himself. No wonder he suffers. No wonder he's divorced. Yeah, values are a little bit skewed. Then I've also met other people in the course of my career, high-flying people who, after retirement, even before actually, riddled with illnesses, riddled. And after retirement especially, their lives are spent in and out of hospitals or of doctors' clinics. That's their life. They don't know what to do with themselves. Yeah? Infected with illnesses, relationship fiascos. What have they achieved as a CEO of a company, or as a president of a company, or as a general manager of a company, or whatever? These high-flying positions with all the perks that they received were illnesses, divorce. Kids don't want to know them. How can anyone possibly relish their moments in this kind of scenario? It's not possible. Yeah. So personal dissatisfaction, relationship fiascos, struggling in the workplace, financial difficulties, even criminal behavior, scamming, for instance, yeah? And a pervasive, nagging dissatisfaction, regardless of what we accomplish. This, my dear friends, these are the catastrophic consequences of viewing personal refinement as being optional. These are the catastrophic consequences of believing I don't need any spiritual practice. I'm fine. Really? Well, wake up. So, when people hit that brick wall and realize that their present line of action has only yielded suffering, not happiness, not fantastic destiny, suffering, then it is only those few who have a glimmer of wisdom in them who start to look inwards, who start to see the imperative need for spiritual clarity. The others, the majority of them, they live empty lives, wasteful, empty lives. Even in the midst of their accomplishments, they're not happy with themselves or with anything else. Wisdom not there, sleeping. Yeah. So, why is it that ultimately everyone comes to that awareness as to just how important spiritual clarity is? How? Why? The reason spiritual clarity is so very important is because we come to know the causes behind the conditions we experience. Yeah? We come to know exactly what causes things to happen and why. Without the clarity, clueless, totally clueless. Yeah. So in Buddhism, this understanding is defined as the law of dependent arising. The law of dependent arising. Simple law, but it's the central feature in all that the Buddha taught. The law of dependent arising. Extremely important law, which we need to be very clear about. What is it? The basic formula is like this. When A arises, no, when A is present, B arises. Remove A, B cannot arise. No can. When there is spiritual darkness or ignorance or spiritual illiteracy, suffering arises. Massive. Remove spiritual darkness, suffering cannot arise. Impossible to arise. When there is wisdom and love, joy and flourishing arises. Remove wisdom and love, no can see, no, not on the radar. Simple formula. When you plant a mango seed, a mango tree arises, not a papaya tree, not an apple tree, not a rose plant, not a donkey. No, no. Mango seed, mango tree. No mango seed, no mango tree. Simple, Simon. You got it? Okay. The law of dependent arising. We have to pay attention to this law. If we want to relish moments, have to pay attention. Very open-eyed, open-mind attention. So, through deep study and practice of the Dhamma, we come to realize, yes, we come to realize that it is extremely unskillful, extremely short-sighted Yeah. To what? Extremely unskillful or short-sighted to cling to our misguided opinions as to what we think or hope will happen in accordance with the way we have chosen to live, minus personal refinement. Instead, we wake up to what the teachings tell us. Instead, we wake up through deep study and practice to what the teachings predict with uncanny precision as to what exactly will happen in our chosen lifestyle, minus personal refinement, if we don't change direction for the better by acquiring the right worldview and learning to live insightfully. What's going to happen? Yes, yes. Head on collision with disaster. That's what's happening. No two ways about it. No negotiations. Are you clear? Through deep study and practice of the Dhamma, our eyes finally open and we realize, uh-oh, I have been assuming things wrongly. What I thought would bring me happiness has brought me sorrow. Lord have mercy. Yeah. And I better change direction now before it's really too late. Think of the people worldwide. Think of the droves of people, millions of people worldwide who gamble. Yeah. With the hope that they will live happily ever after. It's going to make big bucks. And how many end up on the streets? How many lose their jobs and their savings and pretty much everything? Short-sighted. These gambling houses are not there for your benefit. Not for your benefit. Only a few people will benefit, but only temporarily. Then again, disaster. Yeah. Think of all the bad habits people engage in, especially procrastination. I will practice the Dhamma when I'm retired. But then you're riddled with illnesses. You can't do nothing. Yeah. Procrastination of what really matters. Think of the consequences involved. Think of the smoking and the drinking and the drugging. Lord have mercy. Yeah. What we think will happen is usually not what happens. The teachings predict with uncanny precision what will happen if we do not live insightfully. And what will happen is not something we are going to relish because the harvest will be catastrophic. I've witnessed it again and again in so many people's lives. It's sad, it's tragic how powerfully people resist what is most important to do in favor of what is secondary. Sad. Okay, so the talk is on generosity. Where does generosity fit into all this? Let's take a look. I keep talking about the importance of personal refinement in pretty much every class because it needs to be repeated till it sinks in. Doesn't sink in very easily. Usually coming in here and going out to there. No sight. It's gone. Okay, so every class I give you some clues as to what personal refinement means. This class is no different. So the Buddha has offered us so many ways in which to refine ourselves. Brilliant, timeless, proven ways to refine ourselves and therefore to enrich ourselves. Let us take a look at the 10 perfections. Okay. The purpose of the 10 perfections, they serve us in 3 powerful ways. Not just the 10 perfections, pretty much everything the Buddha taught, yeah, helps us in 3 powerful ways. Any clue? Yes, you like to be spoon-fed? Think. First, it safeguards us from making disastrous choices. Safeguards us. No longer disastrous choices. No procrastination on what really matters, especially. Yeah. Secondly, it helps us, these teachings help us to flourish in this world. They prosper us in every way. Good health, good emotions, good thinking, good spiritual connections, good babes, male and female versions. Yeah. Money, money, money. They help us to flourish in this world. Yeah. Our wishes come true with ease. Third one, and that's the big daddy. Just flourishing in this world is not what the practice is about. That's just a stepping stone. What the practice is really about, what it hinges upon, is spiritual awakening. And the only way we can awaken to what is true and of timeless value, truly awaken from this dream world, is when we establish a close and loving partnership with transcendental forces. The forces, those invisible universal laws and forces that have created the cosmos. Some people call this force God. Other people call it whatever they want to call it. But these transcendental forces, they are as tangible, as real, not as, okay? Because this is not real, not really. But it's real. What is really real? This is an illusion, but it seems real. We're still in kindergarten classes, so stay tuned. Yeah. As we go further up, you'll understand what I'm talking about. But they're palpable forces, powerful forces that have given birth to everything you experience, everything. Invisible forces. So these teachings, basically, their primary function is to stop us from the wrongdoing that blocks us from tapping into these forces, create conditions within ourselves by refining ourselves and our consciousness to connect with these forces. That's what it's about. The connection with these ultrasonic forces that cannot be transgressed without incurring severe penalties. And people, millions of people, lifetime after lifetime, keep transgressing these forces because they don't know them. They're not aware of them. How can they be? A coarse consciousness cannot be aware. We need to refine it. Are you understanding? All right. So just briefly, I will tell you what the 10 perfections are. And in each class coming up, we will be talking about each one in turn. Okay? Hi. Now, before that, please understand that these 10 perfections have to be practiced all together. Cannot practice separate. All together. Even though we talk about it separately, they cannot exist in isolation. Just as you, this body, yes, needs heart, needs brain, needs intestines, needs kidneys, liver. Everything has to be together for this body to function properly. For each of these perfections to function properly, the others have to be present. If they're not practiced correctly, little difficulties come along. Okay, keep this in mind. So when I'm talking about generosity, I'm talking about all the other 9 perfections also. They have to be present. Yes? Okay. These perfections are generosity, virtue, renunciation, energy, brimming, wisdom, patience, truthfulness, determination, and loving kindness. And of course, equanimity, a serene mind, regardless of the storms that may be blowing around us. Yeah, equanimity. Very, very important. 10 perfections. Now, seeing that the majority of beings on the planet, possibly even you, yeah, seeing that the majority of beings on this planet are extremely skilled at self-deception. Yes, 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 self-deception. No one to see. Remember those guys in Scotland I spoke about? We are all teachers and we're all students. We don't need teachers. Remember those fellows? Years living in that self-deception till I came along and busted the party. Yeah. Seeing that the majority of us are skilled in self-deception, too many blind spots. We don't want to see ourselves in the true light. It is absolutely essential for us to practice the Dhamma, every little bit of it, under close supervision and guidance from those who see things a little better than we do. We need that humility to apprentice ourselves to those beings who see life a little better than we do, if not a lot better. Okay. In other words, we need a teacher. Yes, yes, yes. When we have a teacher, instead of book learning and video gazing, that's not enough. Never it has been enough. When we're in close contact with a skilled teacher, two things are revealed to us. Two major, monumental realities or truths are revealed to us. And what could they be? Through this close contact, we come to realize the true nature of this world, the magnificence of this world. We come to realize the invisible forces, laws that operate in this world, which for most people, they don't have any idea. That's the first important thing we come to realize, the nature of the world we live in. And the second thing, by extension to knowing this, we come to know our place in this world. Most people don't know their place. They don't know how to conduct themselves correctly in this world. And so they kill each other, scam each other, hurt each other, abuse each other, criticize and so forth, and judge. That's not the way to live. It's causing major suffering. Yeah. People don't know the nature of the world. That's why they're destroying it. People don't know their place in this world. That's why they destroy themselves and other people also in the process, not knowing just how precious a human rebirth is. Yeah? If people really understood the sacred nature of this world and the sacred dimension to themselves, they would live a lot more consciously. But people are totally asleep, totally ignorant of what's going on. And so, rebirth after rebirth, the wheel of suffering keeps on spinning. Lord, wiki, wiki. Okay. Seeing that we are extremely skilled at believing in falsehoods, we need someone to wake up, wake us up. Okay. Wake up, the house is burning, get out. All right. So, please tell me, why is generosity so important? Why is it a perfection we have to perfect? Do you enjoy it when people are generous with you? Yeah. You like all those gifts? You like all those things? Whatever they give? Yeah. Well, other people also enjoy it when you are generous with them. They are. And have you ever noticed just how generous life has been with you, and yet you don't wish to know it? You don't wish to be grateful for it and live in sync with it. How is life generous with you every single day? Every single day you are given a fresh opportunity to change direction for the better and to stop living in zombie mode. But people love living in the zombie forest. Yeah. Actually, do they? No, I don't. Okay, every day, life is gifting us with fresh opportunities. Forget every day, every moment you have the opportunity to change direction for the better. But faulty conditioning stops you. Faulty conditioning keeps you in the ditch. Tragic. So, seeing that we are already blessed in countless ways, we can see, we can hear, we can smell, we can taste, we can walk around, we can do so many things. Blessed. Seeing that we are blessed in countless ways, it is imperative for us to shower blessings upon others who are less fortunate than we are. It is imperative. Why? Because then we place ourselves in alignment with the universal law of fair exchange, giving value for the value we have received. Yeah, value for value. To not do that, to live selfishly, only for ourselves, is to transgress this law. And when we transgress this law by living selfishly, well, ta-ta, hell realms. Yeah, suffering coming. So we need to be the kind of person who is easily accessible. People can come to us whenever they need any help, any assistance. We need to be the kind of person whose door is always open. Come on in, guys. Come on in. What can I do for you? We need to be the kind of person who inspires others, who brings them hope for a better future. The kind of person who smiles more, laughs more, plays more. Not all serious. Yeah, little nuts like I am. Yeah, people enjoy my being a little crazy. We need to be the kind of person who keeps in touch with those who are lonely, depressed, miserable. Not just me. Yeah. We need to be generous with our access. People can access us with our support, with our love, with our kindness, with our gentleness, with our talents, even sometimes with money. But that's the least thing. But we also need to be generous with touch. Yes, touching, not groping, touching gently, hugging, kissing, validating. There's not enough touch in the world. And if it is touched, it is a little not the right type. Yeah. The healing, loving, compassionate touch. Do you know what happens to orphans in orphanages? Little babies. If the orphanage is filled up with too many kids and they don't have enough helpers, and the kids are not touched and played with and talked to, they're just fed, they're given clothes, they're given food, they die. They die. They need touching. They need cuddling. They need love. That's what's missing in the world. Me and Sherry, you're touching people all the time. When we have retreats and classes, hugging the students. They love it. We love it. Not because we enjoy groping. Just share this heart connection with people. Yeah, touching. Very important. Very, very important. Okay, why else? Why else is it important for us to be generous? Law of fair exchange, value for value. But there's another thing about the law of fair exchange which we need to understand. So why do we need, very much need, to be generous? Why do people pray? And that too, fervently. Yeah? Why do people pray everywhere in the world? It is because we all desire, we all yearn for redemptive assistance. That's why we can't do it ourselves. We can't do it ourselves. We all yearn for redemptive assistance. From who? From what? Do you pray to your parents, mom and dad? Please, I need a job. Get me a good job, mom and dad, or your spouse, or your school teacher, or Rambo. Who do you pray to when you pray? Who do people pray to? Yes, that being with the big G, G-O-D. Yeah, people are praying to God, not to people. No, people are praying to God or universal forces, whatever you want to call it. God, my Lord, save my ass. Yeah, that's what we're praying to. But for our prayers to be heard, for these universal forces to come to our aid when we need them the most, we have to establish a close and loving partnership with these forces. Close and loving partnership. What does that mean? It means we need to live in alignment with life's directives, what life directs us to, demands from us. Does it want us to live in a zombie mode? Were we born to be selfish and to hurt other people? Is that what life's about? No. You want life to support you? You have to resonate on the frequency that life calls you to resonate upon. And generosity is one of those resonances we need to be in tune with. Without it, no assistance coming, only suffering coming. Are you understanding? You want the best from the world? You have to give your best in fair exchange. We all seek redemptive assistance from the world around us, which means from these universal forces, yeah, to open those doors for matching our desires. Those doors remain closed when we're not resonating on the frequency that life demands from us. When we're living way below our potential as a precious human bean cake, the good Lord cannot hear our prayers. We're not on the right channel, boys. We're not on the right channel. The good Lord is on, let's say, channel FM, and you are operating on channel AM. Different wave bands. You want the good Lord to hear your frequencies? Well, change from AM, selfish mode, to transpersonal mode, non-selfish mode. Then your prayers are answered. Not otherwise. Get this clear. No bribing the God. No millions of bucks in the temple. Zero benefits. Supersonic character, 100% benefits. Yeah? This is the temple. This is the temple you need to worship, not the one out there. Nah, this one. Are you clear, my dear friends? All right. Here's an example of personal refinement. During a battle, sea battle, well, ships, a naval officer was mortally wounded. And he lay dying on the deck of his ship. Yeah. His men. Yeah. His men gathered around him. Someone brought a blanket, put it under his head to ease his agony. There he was, about to pop. And he felt this incredible relief. And he asked, "Hey, guys, what's that? What's that?" "Oh, sir, that's just a blanket, sir. Just a blanket." "A blanket?" And he got up to look at it. "A blanket?" "Yes, sir, yes." "Whose blanket is it?" "Sir, it belongs to Duncan Roy, sir, of the 42nd Regiment. It's his blanket, sir." "Duncan Roy?" Yes, sir." "Well, see to it that Duncan Roy gets this blanket immediately. I don't need it. I don't need it. Just give it to him. I don't need it." Here's a man who's about to die in acute agony, and yet he's thinking of someone else's welfare. That's personal refinement at its best. Are you understanding, please? Okay. So how do we also perfect this quality in us? How do we leap out of scarcity mode? Not enough, not enough. Have to keep it to my chest. Yeah. How do we leap out of this scarcity mentality in which we believe there's not enough to go around? Let's hoard things. And how do we leap into a generous mindset? Well, let's define generosity first, shall we? Generosity is viewed as the desire to assist in other people's welfare. Yeah? To make sure that other people's lives are made better through our giving in whichever form. Touching, kindness, help in whichever form, through our talents maybe. Yeah. to benefit others. It's all about benefiting others, generosity. But how many people include themselves in that definition? How many people are generous with themselves? No, no. In 1989, 1989, Master B had hair, not so many wrinkles. I started teaching. I gave my first class on June 1st, 1989, after I was authorized to teach the Dhamma by Lama Zopa Rinpoche, one of my root gurus. Yeah, I was in Kathmandu, Nepal, and I was the house manager plus one of the teachers in his city center, Lama Zopa City Center, called Himalayan Yogic Institute at the time, 1989. The classes I was offering were of two types: 2-hour talks during the week, and on certain weekends, when other teachers were not present, I gave weekend workshops, full day workshops. Yeah? From 10 to 12 was the yoga class. 12 to 2, gobble time, gobble, gobble. And from 2 o'clock till 6 o'clock, teachings. During the yoga, I would go around the room and correct people's postures. Put your hand like this, put your body like that. Okay. Breathe like this. I would go around correcting people's postures. Now, in this particular workshop in 1989, there was, yes, another New Yorker. Yeah, beautiful young girl. Well, in her late 20s. The thing about her was she was super special. Super special in that her body was exceedingly stiff. She could barely bend. She could barely do anything. Her body was extremely stiff. And not just that, when I touched her body, her arm or back, move it this way or that way, I felt a very strange resonance in her frequency. I couldn't put my finger on it. Yeah, but it was unusual for someone of her age. I didn't know her age, but she was definitely young, late 20s. Not something was a little bit strange. Anyway, after the workshop was over, she and her brother, yes, he was there also in class, they invited me for dinner the next day. So I said, sure, I'll come along. Cycled across, no bike, no motorcycle, no car, no money at the time. Yeah. Cycled across to Kathmandu, to the city. We were outside, a little bit on the outskirts. And there, during our dinner, I opened the topic. And I said, listen, you don't have to share this if you don't want to, but I would like to know why someone who is as young as you are has such a stiff body, and why, when I touch you, I'm feeling some strange vibe coming from your body. Just for my own interest. Would you like to share that? And she was obliging. Behram, I have no secrets here. Sure, I'll share what I have to say. And here is her story. She was a gynecologist. And she said, well, being a gynac is not easy. Not easy. You're not just working with people's bodies, you're also working with their emotions. The women who would come to me, Behram, each and every woman that came to me had a tragic story to tell, to narrate. And I had no firewall against these things. And I used to listen. They wanted me to listen, and I would listen with compassion. But it became too much. This one's psychosis, this one's trauma, this one's difficulties pouring in. So at a certain point, I couldn't take it anymore, Behram. And I decided to kill myself, slit my wrists. Fortunately, my brother was close by somewhere, and he rescued me. I rested for a while, went back to my job, same thing. Again, the overload of these emotional difficulties. I couldn't handle it. Again, I tried to kill myself. But then my friends and my brother decided that I needed a longer break. And so I came to Thailand with my brother for a vacation, just to chill out. I did a couple of classes there, but nothing resonated for me. Then someone said that I should possibly go to Kathmandu, because there were some good classes happening there. That's how I met you. And I have really benefited from what you had to share. When I get back to New York, I'm changing occupations. I can't handle this. I'm going to study something else. Yeah, that's what happens. Generosity, which is not well applied, leads to fiasco, dangerous fiascos. She was not being generous with herself, generous with other people. Yes, pour it on, pour it on. Generosity has to be practiced in conjunction with all the other perfections. Without them, difficulties. Okay? So generosity, like everything good in this world, begins at home. How generous we are with ourselves is how generous we will be with others. If we're generous with ourselves correctly, we will be generous with others correctly. Yeah? Our self-image, please understand, our self-image determines what we offer to the world and what we receive in exchange for that. If we are insecure about our worthiness, then our giving will be measured. Yeah? Our giving will not only be measured, it will also be fragile and most likely faulty. So our giving has to be such that it comes from a position of inner strength and clarity, of the titanic variety. And it can only have that inner strength and clarity of the titanic variety when all the perfections are working in sync, not separately. No can do. Yeah, titanic variety. Okay, here's an example of giving generously in a faulty manner and the consequences related to it. I've already talked about the gynac. Let's look at our man Dan. Okay, here's brother Dan. Yeah, brother Dan. Wonky self-image, and yet he believes he's a cool dude. Yeah. Remember self-deception? Brother Dan, PhD. So, brother Dan had this beautiful backyard. Yeah, lovely home, lovely wife, beautiful backyard. And his lawnmower broke down one day. And he chose not to fix it. Daisy! His wife, however, would badger him. Dan, listen, the grass is growing pretty wild now. Come on. Will you please fix it and mow the lawn, Dan? Yeah. I'll do it tomorrow. But for brother Dan, other things were more important. Guzzling beer was important. Watching nonsensical soap operas on TV was important. Fiddling on the phone, even more important. Getting likes on Facebook. Yeah, brother Dan, busy man. Dan, I've seen wildlife in the backyard now. The grass is really tall. Will you please fix the lawnmower? Yeah. So finally, his wife decided, let me try a creative approach to this. So just before Dan came home, he went into the backyard with a pair of scissors, sat in the grass and started snipping. Yeah? Mowing the lawn with scissors. Dan comes home, sees his wife sitting there like a weirdo, snipping away at the grass, and he thinks to himself, let's see what I can do here now. Goes into the bathroom, takes out an old toothbrush, walks over to his babe, and says to her, sweetheart, after you cut the grass, would you please sweep the driveway also? Here? The doctors tell us that he will walk again. Yep, but always with a limp. Yeah, that's his condition. He will walk again. That's the time. That was the day when Dan realized that he should have been wise and loving a long time ago. You see, the thing is, when we gift others criticism, indifference, disrespect, contempt, when we gift people these unpleasant realities, unskillful realities, then we are, by default, the teachings tell us with uncanny precision that we are inviting disaster. Brother Dave, brother Dan, limping away. You should have known better. Are you understanding, please? Okay. We must never, ever neglect the responsibility life has placed upon us as precious human being cakes. Yeah, special human beings. And what is this responsibility? Yeah, that life demands from us. You have to do. No negotiation. Our primary responsibility as human beings is primary responsibility is to know ourselves, which means to grow ourselves, which means to refine ourselves. Why? Why is this so important? So that we can rise above the delusion of a countless lifetimes that makes us see ourselves as separate from everything else. Our sense of self through personal refinement becomes transpersonal, beyond the personal, beyond the I, me, mine syndrome, which causes immense suffering. Yeah? We need primary responsibility to know ourselves so that we can grow ourselves. And to grow ourselves is to refine ourselves. And to refine ourselves means to go beyond this constant self-reference, this constant self-interest at the expense of others. So our sense of self, becomes transpersonal. Being transpersonal, it has direct access, direct to transcendental realities. To the good Lord, we got his personal number. Yeah, we have direct access to transcendental forces. And remember, we need redemptive assistance, not from this one and that one, from life, the collective forces in life to aid us towards awakening. When we are in touch with these transcendental forces and our ego or sense of self is transpersonal, we no longer think of me, my family, my workplace, my country. There is no me, first of all. We think globally. We think of the environment. We think of the creatures in it. It's all one family. Yeah, and we learn to live consciously. And when we learn to live consciously, the good Lord walks right beside us. We walk in grace in this world, protected, prospered, flourishing life, relishing life. Without knowing ourselves, how can we grow ourselves? How can we refine ourselves? We need that generosity to really love ourselves as the good Lord loves us, not as a self, but as one with the cosmos. We're still in kindergarten. It'll make sense slowly, slowly. Stay tuned. So once we transform ourselves, then our presence acquires this mystical resonance. Yeah, our presence acquires this incredibly powerful resonance that stimulates pretty much everyone we come across to want to change direction for the better. Not just when we're in their company, but even when we're only in their thoughts. That's the power of the resonance we acquire for making a positive difference in this world. Are you understanding? Yeah? Think of how the Buddha, think of Christ, think of Socrates, think of all those other wise beings who have lived on the planet. Their influence is still being felt by us, even though they're no longer in our company. They're just in our thoughts. And yet, we feel inspired to change the direction for the better. That's the quality of life that is incredibly yummy. That's how you relish your moments when you're living in tune with life, not disconnected from it. Blessed are those, blessed are those who confer the greatest benefits upon others, not living selfishly. Blessed are those who confer, who offer, who gift the greatest benefits upon others, because they then become shipping tycoons, magnates. Shipping tycoons, Master B, what's that? Do you remember what I said in the last class? We need to be in the shipping business. What shipping business? We need shiploads of merit. And that shipload of merit comes through living wisely, not unwisely, wisely. There are only a few in this world. There are only a few in this world who are able to navigate skillfully and safely and beautifully through this uncertain world. Uncertain, filled with its many challenges and brimming with illusions. There are only the few who are able to navigate skillfully, safely around all these obstacles in this uncertain world. These are the beings who don't just survive, they prevail, triumph over whatever comes their way. They don't merely succeed. There are lots of people who succeed, but they're riddled with illnesses. They don't merely succeed, they thrive. And they help others to thrive. How do these guys do it? How do these people do it? Living in such an incredibly brilliant manner, regardless of the obstacles, regardless of the illusions, regardless of the uncertainty. They're just cruising. How? Simple, Simon. The answer is personal refinement. They see the imperative need for personal refinement because it is through personal refinement and personal refinement only that we acquire the necessary competence to be in this world correctly. Without that competence, we're sunk. We're in the ditch. We're sunk. Cannot be optional. Imperative. So when our generosity is commensurate with a deeply enriching and meaningful life in which we are contributing, conferring great benefits upon others, including the environment and the creatures living in it, when our generosity is commensurate with, equal to a deeply enriching and meaningful life in which we are showering the world with great benefits, we discover something amazing. Something spectacularly amazing. What is it? We discover that the more we give, the more we are given to give. Yeah. The more we share, the more we have to share. How does that happen? No scarcity there. Abundance is scooped from abundance, and yet abundance remains. How? How? There's a universal law. Again, please tattoo in consciousness, tattoo it. There's a universal law which ensures that the returns are always greater than the investment. Are you understanding? The returns are always greater than the investment. What it means? Come on, guys. Simple answer. Plant one mango seed in the ground in the fertile conditions. How many mango trees do you get from it? One? Come on, wake up. Yes, that one seed will give you one mango tree, but that one mango tree gives you many mangoes with seeds inside, and it goes exponential. Yeah, you can't count the number of mango trees that are contained in that one seed. Yeah, the returns are always greater than the investment. You're generous with the world, and you'll be amazed at how the world will be generous with you in return. Magical ways. But there's also a flip side to this. Here's that mango seed with the potential to gift you with a countless mango trees. But you don't plant it. You keep it in the safe deposit vault. Can you imagine the loss incurred? Exactly same. Here you are gifted with resources you can't even imagine, but you don't share them with others? Can you imagine the loss involved in living a selfish life? You can't even imagine the loss involved. Because the returns, the loss incurred, will be greater than what you're not willing to share. Wipes you out. So ultimately, my dear friends, ultimately, all that matters is that we do what matters. And that we do what matters by giving the full measure of reverential, devoted thoughts, feelings, words, and actions to the world around us. Full measure. The more you give, the more you will be given to give. The less you give, whatever you have will be taken from you. The loss is unimaginable when we live selfishly. Okay? Our giving has to be full measure. reverential, devoted giving, not grudging. Without that, there can be no joy. There can be no relishing. There is no practice of the 10 perfections and no awakening. Only zombie forest. Not pleasant. Let me end with a story. On a day of festivities, the Buddha, the radiant one, was walking with his entourage of monks behind him. Down Main Street, yeah? And the townspeople, oh, if we gift the Buddha and his monks some things, so much merit. Yeah. Thinking of merit, not the best way to make merit. They were gifting the Buddha during his alms round, collecting food for his lunch break, giving him food, giving him other things, precious things. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Walking down Main Street. At the end of town, there was this little kid, dribbling nose, unbathed, torn clothes, coming from a very poor family. There was a kid gazing at all the spectacle happening in front of him. And he just felt this deep love for the Buddha and his radiance, just sparkling radiance. And he wanted to give something, but he didn't know what to. What could he give? Nothing. Just torn clothes, dribbling nose. But hey, he did have, being a precious human rebirth, he did have the gift of imagination, like you have, like we all have, but we're not using it well. So when the Buddha was right near him, he stooped down, picked up some dirt, and said to the Buddha, "My Lord, I wish this was gold. Please, I wish this was gold." And he gave to him. And the Buddha, "Thank you, sweetheart. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Stay well, be well, always." And the Buddha took that dirt and walked off, along with his bowl, of course, and other things. So then, once he settled down in the forest on the outskirts of town, and he and his monks finished gobbling their meal, he said to them, "You guys, guess which was the best gift I received today?" And the monk said, "Was it this? No. Was it that? No. What was it, my lord?" So then the Buddha said, "That little snotty little kid, the dirt that he gave me without any thought of merit, just for the love of giving. Best gift. That kid, in this very life, for having given to a Buddha, someone with such extraordinary powers, a gift of that nature, with total undiluted love, he's going to wake up in this very life. The merit he's acquired, this very life." And that little kid did wake up. So the moral of the story is that no matter how little your gift may be, you can give it with an immeasurable amount of love. Yes, that is possible. And use your imagination to reach out to as many people as you can, especially these days through the internet. You can touch lots of people. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening. Stay tuned for more. Have a good day. Be well always, and hallelujah.